transferred to Manchester United now.
Football predictions.
If Barbara Rangers nil, Ipswich Town 1.
Football predictions.
Hello, it's Peter Guest, and I'm here just by myself today, no Moose, for another episode of footballpredictions.net, the podcast. And I'm covering Serie A games for the 27th and 28th of July 2024. Today we have Juventude versus Criciúma, Palmeiras versus Vitória, Bahia versus Internacional, Fortaleza versus São Paulo, Botafogo versus Cruzeiro, Red Bull Bragantino versus Fluminense, Flamengo play Atlético Goiás, Cuiabá take on Atlético PR, Atlético Mineiro take on Corinthians, and Grêmio play Vasco da Gama. You can also see the details for all the matches I'm about to discuss in this podcast on our website, footballpredictions.net, alongside fixtures from just about every other football competition that there is in the world. Our website shows you where to watch the games on local broadcast channels, plus video streaming services, as well as match odds from local bookmakers. Look in the description of the podcast for direct clickable links to all the matches that I'm about to discuss. Geolocation and live streaming rules do apply. 18 plus, gamble aware. So, the first game I'm going to look at today is Juventude, who take on Criciúma. This one's on Saturday, the 27th of July at 2300, 11 p.m. in the UK. You can live stream this one on Bet365. Use our bonus code FP365 if you're new to them. And let's just have a quick look at the last match for Juventude. Well, it was a good prediction for us. They were away to Cruzeiro. We predicted a 2-0 win for Cruzeiro, and the score was exactly 2-0. So a fantastic correct score prediction for that one for us. Juventude, of course, do fare a lot better, though, when they're at home. And that's borne out in their home form. This season, they have played 9 at home, lost 0. So that's a pretty good indicator for what we're thinking about in this game. In Criciúma's last game, we incredibly predicted them to draw 1-1 at home, and they drew 1-1 at home. So we've had a very good run of results with these two of late, predicting some really good outcomes. But Criciúma away from home are not quite the match that they are at home. So they've actually played 8 away games and only won 2 and lost 5 of those. Overall, they do have a minus goal difference home and away, only just. And we actually think that in this game, it's going to be a home win for Juventude. The odds on that win are actually 2.2, so pretty good odds. And our tip, though, for this one is under 2.5 goals. So let's see how that one pans out. Let's look at the other odds for this game. If you went for the correct score that we're predicting of 1-0, you can get odds of 6.5. And if you were interested in a draw, you can get odds of 3.25. Criciúma are out at 3.4 decimal odds, so quite high for a win for them to see if they could actually beat Juventude for the first time on Juventude's home soil all season at the Estadio Alfredo Jaconi. Next, we have Palmeiras, who take on Vitória. This one is on Saturday, 27th of July at 11 p.m. UK time. And another one you can stream live on Bet365. Use the bonus code FP365 if you are new to them. Last time out that we predicted on the podcast, we had Palmeiras playing Cruzeiro at home, and we predicted a 2-0 win for Palmeiras in that one, and they won 2-0. So a fantastic result there for us as well. They have been in fairly good form of late, despite those 2 recent 1-0 defeats, both away from home, that is. They also beat Atlético Goiás and Bahia quite comprehensively by a couple of goals. But yeah, those 2 losses probably being away something of a blip for them. They're still sitting in 3rd position on the table, not too far behind the leaders, whereas Vitória kind of languishing down near the bottom. We have the home form for Palmeiras has been pretty good. They've played 10 at home, won 7 of those. Have lost a couple, but their points per game at home is 2.2 average, and they've got a healthy home goal difference of 10. Vitória, on the other hand, away from home, not travelling too well. They've played 9 away games and only won 1 of those all season. In fact, they've only won 4 all season put together. So away from home, not really seeming like a very good bet to us. And that's reflected in what we see in this game. We have this one down as a Palmeiras home win Odds on that you can get at 1.33. Obviously, odds subject to change, but this is being recorded on Friday. And if you go for our tip, which is under 2.5 goals, you actually get a better result than that. You get 2.05 odds. If you did go for the correct score prediction of 2-0 over at Bet365, they have the odds of 6.5 on that. If you did take a punt on a draw for this one, which could be something interesting, you can get 5 odds, so 4-1. And if you want Victoria to win is at 10 or 9-1, so very high for that. Although it's looking like, going on form, that Palmeiras will get back into another home win. Next, we have 7th placed Bahia, who take on 13th placed Internacional. This is a game you can watch on Sunday, 28th of July at midnight UK time. Live stream it on Bet365, and if you want to see where you can watch it in your location, whether you can watch it on Bet365 or other TV channels, just check our website, seeing the links in the description. Don't forget to use the bonus code FP365 if you're going to live stream on Bet365. So we had the last game for Bahia. They were away to Atletico Goiás. They drew 1-1. In our predictions, we predicted that to be 1-1. So yet another exact correct score for us, which is very promising for what we're doing here. Internacional, they also drew 1-1, but that was in the Copa Sudamericana. But in the game before that in Serie, they played Botafogo away, and they got beaten 1-0. We did predict them to lose that one 2-0, but they ended up losing by 2. Bahia at home this season have done very well. They've played 9 and won 7 of those. They have lost the other 2, but their points per game average at home stands at 2.33. So you'd be brave to bet against them. And looking at Internacional, they have been involved in some fairly low-scoring affairs lately. Their last game, like I said, against Botafogo was 1-0. In the previous game in the Copa Sudamericana, they actually lost 1-0 to Rosario Central. And they had a couple of cup games before that. One of those was Juventude playing them, so basically a Serie A competition. And they drew 1-1. So not a lot of goals happening at the moment at Internacional, and that's reflected in this result. We think it'll be a tight game. We're looking at a 1-0 home win to Bahia in this one. Turning to the odds, a Bahia win, you can get that for 2.05 odds in decimal. Under 2.5, which is actually our tip for this, is available at 1.67. That's the one that we're thinking is the most likely of the lot. But if you did go for the 1-0 correct score prediction, you can get that one for 6.5 odds in decimal. So yes, a Bahia win, we think. Next up, it's Botafogo, who take on Cruzeiro at home. And this one kicks off on Sunday, 28th of July, 1:30 in the morning UK time. Stream it live on Bet365. Use that bonus code FP365 if you're new to them. Last time out, it was a draw for Botafogo, who were actually away. But before that, they've been in fine form, winning their previous 5 in a row before. So defeating the likes of Internacional at home, that was Palmeiras, also at home. They beat Botafogo 1-0 away. Been quite a few 1-0s actually. 1-0 against Internacional, 1-0 against Palmeiras. They beat Vitória 1-0. So a bit of a trend there perhaps. Before that, they had a couple of decent wins against Atlético Mineiro. That was at home, 3-0. And they also won away at Botafogo by a single goal. Cruzeiro, on the other hand, last time they played, our prediction for them was 2-0 against Juventude. They won 2-0, thank you very much. And the time before that, they played against Palmeiras and actually lost 2-0, and we predicted 2-0 for that one as well. So yeah, some pretty good predictions of late for these two teams. Let's hope that continues here. Botafogo, of course, flying high at the top of Serie A. They've gathered 40 points from their 19 games, doing very well indeed. Cruzeiro sitting a bit further down, back in 6th, but not too bad. They've played one less game and are on 32 points. But Botafogo's goal difference of plus 15 versus Cruzeiro's of plus 5 is a bit of a telling difference. But in fact, Botafogo have only won 2 more games in total than Cruzeiro. So Botafogo at home have only lost a single game. They have played 9 and won 7, drawn the other one. Points per game average at home is 2.44. Away, they're not so good. Their points per game average away is 1.8. So them being at home in this game does make a lot of difference to us and for our prediction. With Cruzeiro not that far behind them as well. So Cruzeiro, obviously being away from home, their away form is not so great. They've only won 2 away games all season, lost 6. That's very strange for them because their home form is the complete opposite. They've won 8 out of 8. But yeah, like I say, they don't seem to travel too well. Having said that, we do think this will be a very close game, and we're predicting it to be Having said that, we are predicting this one to be a very close game. We think Botafogo at home will get over the line, and we have a feeling they're going to win just maybe by the single goal. And so our tip for this one is under 2.5. 1.67 odds you can get for that, at Bet365 that is. If you did go for the Botafogo win, that's 1.91. So have a look at those ones. Looking at the correct score of 1-0, you can also get odds of 6 for that, or 5-1 in fractional odds. Not bad odds actually for the draw, 3.4. If you did think that Cruzeiro could actually win, then you could get 4.33. We don't think that's very likely though in this one. For our next match, we have Red Bull Bragantino, who are at home to Fluminense. You can catch this one on Sunday, 28th of July at 3 p.m. UK time. And it's also live streamed on Bet365. If you're going to watch it there, do use our bonus code FP365. Well, last time out in Serie A action, we had Red Bull Bragantino at home again, and they played Atletico PR. Another great result for us. We predicted a 1-0 home win, and they won 1-0 at home. So pretty good going again. Fluminense last time out were hosting Palmeiras, and they beat them 1-0. We did predict a under 2.5 for that, and so we got that as well. Bragantino at home this season have done very well. They've played 8, won 6, and only lost 1 of those games. Points per game average at home 2.38, which is in stark contrast even to their away form, in which they've played 9 and only won 1. Fluminense are having a bit of a shocker of a season. They've only won 3 games in the entire season, and away they've won 1 of those. So their points per game average away is 0.44. As you can imagine, we do like the look of a Red Bull Bragantino win in this one. You can get fairly good odds of 2.05 for that, but we think this will be actually quite a close game, and we're actually electing for the under 2.5 goals tip. So we're predicting a 2-0 home win for Bragantino. Not that close, but still under 2.5, and you can get odds of 1.73 for that. Also worth mentioning that Fluminense haven't won away from home in their last 10 league matches. But if you were brave enough to bet on them to win away, you can get 3.8 odds. If you like the sound of 2-0 for a correct score, you can get odds of 9.5 decimal for that. So in general, yeah, we think that Red Bull Bragantino will continue on their winning ways at home. Next up, it's second placed Flamengo, who take on bottom Atletico Goiás. This one is on Sunday the 28th of July, 8 p.m. UK time. It's available for live stream on Bet365. Use that bonus code FP365 if you're new to them. Bit of a contrasting 2 teams here. We've had Flamengo, just looking at their last 6 Serie A games. They've won 4 of those, drawn 1 and lost 1. Conversely, Atletico Goiás have won 0 of those 6. Although they did get a 1-1 draw in their last game against Bahia, which we predicted as a 1-1 draw. So another correct exact score, which is great. I think based on those league positions and what I've just mentioned, Flamengo to win is the obvious choice. You can get odds of 1.36 for that. Flamengo at home have played 9, won 6, lost 2, drawn 1. Average points per game at home, 2.11. Marginally better than their away form, in which they've played 9, won 5, lost 1, drawn 3, and have an away form of 2 goals per game average. For Goiás, it's a different story. Away from home, they've played 10, won 2, lost 5, drawn 3, and their home form is just incredibly bad. They've played 9-1-0, lost 6, drawn 3. So slightly better away, actually. But here we see a Flamengo comprehensive win. We think it's going to be a 2-goal margin. We think they're going to score twice, and we don't think Goiás will score at all. Atletico Goiás are without an away win from home in the last 5 league matches, and they don't fare too well away against Flamengo either. They've not beaten Flamengo away in their last away 5 league games. Turning to the odds, you can get a Flamengo win at 1.36. A draw would be 4.5. And if you want Atletico Goiás win, you're going to get 10. So quite high, which is reflected in what the bookies think as well. For our correct score prediction of 2-0, you could get 6.5 odds. So that wraps up that one. Hopefully it's fairly comprehensive and clear cut. The next game we've got lined up is Cuiabá, who take on Atletico Paranense, Atletico PR. That one's on Sunday, the 28th of July, 11 p.m. UK time. You can watch that one as well on Bet365. Use the bonus code FP365. Last time out in Serie A action, Cuiabá, they lost 1-0 to Fluminense. We did predict a 1-0 result, although we thought it would actually go the way of Cuiabá. So they've let us down on that one. But they have had a few draws of late, Cuiabá. They actually drew in the Copa Sudamericana, 1-1 with Palestino. And also had that draw with Flamengo, 1-1 as well, which was in the Serie A game on the 7th of July. And turning to Atletico PR, in their last match actually was a Copa Sudamericana as well, in the early hours of today, Friday, and they won 2-1. We did predict a 2-0 for that one against Cerro Porteño. But in the last Serie A game, which is what we're looking at here, we predicted Atletico PR to lose 1-0 to RB Bragantino, as we mentioned before, and it was a 1-0 result, so another good correct score. Atletico PR currently sitting 8th in the table, Cuiabá down in 16th. Cuiabá at home have played 9 games. They've only won 1 of those and they've lost 5, but they have drawn 3 games. Their points per game average is actually only 0.67. Atletico PR's away form isn't brilliant either. They've played 9 and only won 3, lost 4 and drawn 2 of those, with a points per game away average of 1.22. We think this will therefore be quite a close game, and actually we can't separate the two. There have been a few draws of late in some of these teams' matches, and we are going for a draw here. We think it'll be 1-1, and our tip for this one is actually both teams to score. You can get odds of that of 1.95. For a draw itself, it's actually even better. You can get odds of a draw of 3.1. Also, Atletico PR, they've been scored against in 5 of their last 6 games, and they've conceded 7 goals in all. Cuiabá have been finding it hard to keep clean sheets as well lately, but they have also managed to convert their own chances into goals. They've conceded 6 in their last 6, but they've also scored in 5 of those games. So we can't see a clear-cut winner. We're going for the 1-1. If you did go for a correct score of 1-1, the odds of that are 6 in decimal or 5-1 in fractional. But this game really could go either way. Next, it's Atletico Mineiro, who take on Corinthians. This one's on at Sunday, the 28th of July, 11 p.m. UK time. Watch it on Bet365. Use that bonus code FP365 or click in the description below. The last game for Atletico Mineiro, they played Vasco da Gama. We did predict them to win that one 1-0. They ended up winning 2-0. And for Corinthians, we actually thought they might get over the line at Grêmio, but they ended up being held to a 2-2 draw. Both of these teams have got fairly similar records in their last 6 games in Serie A. Atletico Mineiro have won 2, lost 2, drawn 2, whereas Corinthians have won 3, lost 2, drawn 1. Mineiro at home have got about the same form as they have away, so they seem to be fairly consistent. At home they've played 9, won 3, drawn 4 and lost 2, with 13 goals scored and 13 goals conceded. And it's exactly the same away, actually. They've won 3 away and lost 2 there as well. So, and interestingly, their goals for and against are the same away, 12 conceded and scored. Corinthians, on the other hand, have their away form is really quite bad. They played 10 away, just won the solitary game, and have got a -12 away goal difference. Their points per game in away matches is 0.5 points. Pretty terrible. However, we do think, given they do tend to score, that this will be a both teams to score prediction for this game. That's our tip. Where you can get odds of that for 1.95. If you did want to go for the Atletico Mineiro win, which we are also predicting, the odds for that are 1.7, so they're favourites to win this game. Although Atletico Mineiro haven't actually beaten Corinthians in their last 3 matches in the league. But we think that'll change here. And we've gone for a 3-1 home win. The correct score for 3-1, if you're interested in the odds for that, is 15 or 14 to 1. So a brave one, but might be interested to have a little bit on that. But the Corinthians are really heavily not favoured to win this one. They're out at 5.5 odds for the victory. Next, it's Gremio who take on Vasco da Gama. This one kicks off on Sunday, 28th of July at 11 p.m. UK time. And you can stream this one live on Bet365. Do use that bonus code FP365 if you're not with them already. And not great results for both of these sides in their last games. As I mentioned, Corinthians drew with Gremio in the last Serie A game. That was on the back of a good Gremio win against Vitória. But Vasco da Gama did lose their last game 2-0 against Atletico Mineiro. We did predict them to lose that game. But actually, it's on the back of a few very good results before that for Vasco. They'd actually won their last 4 in a row before that, and are unbeaten in the game before that against Botafogo as well, where they drew 1-1, which we predicted as 1-1. So coming into some pretty decent form, 2 of those games for Vasco of those wins were at home, but 2 of them were actually away. So this one could be a little bit tighter than some people would expect. However, a really telling fact, I think, for Vasco is that they haven't actually beaten Gremio in games played away from home for the last 13 league games, which is an incredibly bad away record. Gremio's home form isn't too bad. They have played 9, won 4. They've also lost 4 and drawn 1. They've scored 9 and conceded 9, and their points per game average is 1.44. Vasco away haven't done too well this season. They've been much better at home, but away they've played 9 and only won 2, lost 7 and haven't drawn any of those games, with a points per game average away from home of 0.67. So overall, we think this one actually will be quite close, but we can't see that streak being broken here. We think it'll be another Gremio home win, and you can get odds of that of 2.1, but we do think that the tip here is going to be both teams to score, and that is available for odds of 1.91. And for our prediction, correct score is 2 to 1, and in favour of the home team, and the odds for that aren't too bad. You can get 9 or 8 to 1. Again, if you're planning to live stream matches on Bet365, geolocation and live streaming rules apply. 18 plus, gamble aware, and use the bonus code FP365 if you're a new customer. In the description section of this podcast, you can find links to the fixtures we've just covered, or just visit footballpredictions.net. There you can find the online sources where to watch all the games from your location via streaming and TV channels, our predictions and the odds for all the different games. Also, we produce these football podcasts for a number of competitions. In addition to this one, we'll be back in the new European season with the different leagues, and you can listen to them all at podcast.footballpredictions.net, or where you normally source your podcasts from. Well, that's all. Thank you for listening, and hopefully I'll get the moose next time. But until then, it's adios.
Football predictions.